Welcome to Jumpstart. My name is Sharon Minhas and I'm the creator and director of the Jumpstart program. I have my master's degree in education in early literacy and English as a second language from the University of Alberta. I've been working in the public system in education for over 20 years. I'll start off by letting you know how our programs are set up. We have a discovery program for our 2-3-year-old students. We have a prep program for our 3-4-year-old students and a scholars program for our 4-5-year-old students. Each program has unique lesson plans and learning outcomes that cater to not only the academic, but also the social and emotional needs of our students. At Jumpstart, our early learning philosophy is research-based with proven results. We have designed a structured environment that will grow your child in many ways. Rather than free play, our play with purpose approach helps students have fun in the classroom while intentionally learning key concepts. Activities are intentionally set up by our educators to achieve planned learning outcomes. Our individualized program plan for each student ensures that we cater to each child's needs. I'll go into more detail of each part of the day now. When our students come in the morning, they come to the carpet, put their shoes on, and then we come over to our attendance board, and the students check themselves in to let us know that they are here today. They find their name on the attendance board. At the beginning of the year, we have your child's picture attached to their card to support them in finding their name card. As they become comfortable with this routine activity, we cut all of the letters up, put them in a little baggie, and then they will take the letters and put them in order on a Velcro strip. This is an important activity that we do on a daily basis here at Jumpstart. Since it's part of our routine, students know that when they come into the classroom, the first thing that they're going to do is put their shoes on, and the second thing that they're going to do is put their name up for attendance. Even if your child doesn't speak or understand English, they will be successful at Jumpstart because we have a structured routine, and they can also refer to the picture schedule on the board to see what's coming up next. After attendance, students complete our question of the day. Here, we have our students' names without their pictures attached, and we're trying to get them to recognize their name independently. They can always check on the other attendance side if they need support to look at their name. We read our question of the day together, and we talk about the words yes and no. We have the visuals here for students who are not yet able to read these words, or for our students who are not able to understand English just yet. Part of the reason why we do question of the day is to teach our students what questions actually are and how to ask them. We also focus on directionality of print. Students follow the teacher's lead and also start to point to the words as they are reading the question of the day. As this is a daily activity and routine that they do every time they come to Jumpstart Learning Center, they become very familiar with our question of the day routine and something they are excited to do. Once we finish with our question of the day, we come over to find our journals at the tables. Each student will find their pencil box and their journal on their spot. There's a large space at the top where they can draw a picture about anything they wish to draw a picture about. And then at the bottom, we want them to practice writing their name, either writing independently or tracing over their name. In some cases, the teacher supports through hand-over-hand tracing. As students become more comfortable with this daily routine, we get them to try to trace over our writing, and then we try to get them to do some of it independently. Our end goal is for students to write or trace their name independently, starting with a capital letter followed by lowercase letters. We're guiding them at the beginning and then trying to give them some independence as they become comfortable and more knowledgeable about how to write or trace their name. Another thing we do here at Jumpstart Learning Center is we encourage students to write independently, and that starts with the teacher having a conversation with the student about what they drew. This is part of our oral language development here at Jumpstart. As students become aware of letter-sound relationships, we want them to start to write some letters down that they hear in certain words, such as sky. We will guide the students and scaffold their learning by asking them, what does sky start with? What sound do you hear when I say sky? And we try to emphasize that the first sound, S, so students will say, oh, that's letter S. And they can look around the classroom or look on their pencil box and they will find the S to write by themselves if they are able to, or with some guidance from their teacher. Then eventually they will start to write S and maybe even C or K for sky. This part of the development is called inventive spelling. It is a major milestone and we should not correct students' spelling at this stage. All that matters is that it can be sounded out. Students are always encouraged and praised as they independently progress through this daily routine. It's amazing to see their growth through their journals from the first day to their very last day here at Jumpstart. Our goal is to give them the tools to be successful and the opportunities to have those experiences, to try to work with the sounds that they know and to take risks. Our daily journals focus on writing and recognizing their name, phonemic awareness skills, as well as fine motor skills such as how to hold a pencil, how to draw pictures, and how to color. Once we are finished with our journals, our students head over to the carpet area and read a book or play with some learning games until all of our friends are ready to start our circle time calendar activities. At calendar, we talk about what month it is and focus on the first letters such as J in June. We jump on any opportunity we have to focus in on letter-sound relationships. Next, we talk about what number or date today is. Some students will shout out the number right away, and others need the teacher to guide them through counting together. This is why we always do these activities together as a class to give everybody that equal support. The date number cards also have a pattern, so we can discuss which pattern comes next. Each month there's a different pattern and different objects that the students are looking at, and they get progressively more difficult throughout the year. Another way we reinforce this concept of patterns is we have a pattern chain, and the teachers do the same thing with that. For example, if their pattern chain is pink, pink, red, red, pink, pink, we would stop and discuss which color is to come next, then add that to our pattern chain. At calendar time, we also talk about the season and discuss seasonal changes that we should be seeing outside. We have a monthly poem that we sing, and again we're focusing on those rhyming words, trying to get our students up and active and participating at circle time. We focus on the number of the day, where the teacher will choose a number to focus on for the day. This is an interactive part of our circle time activity. The teacher will choose different students to come up and do different activities, such as counting out the corresponding number of straws, popsicle sticks, cubes, or crayons. Our counting continues as we move over to our 10 frame and domino board. A student will come up and color in the corresponding number on the 10 frame, and another student will color in the dominoes. Again, everybody gets a chance to come up. It's interactive, keeps them engaged while reinforcing the number of the day. We'll count to number 5, and then eventually we'll go all the way to 100, and then counting by 10. We also go over the power of 10 subitizing cards to familiarize students with these on a daily basis. Subitizing simply means being able to know how many there are without counting each one, like rolling a dice and knowing you have rolled a 3 without counting each individual dot. Our message of the day is repetitive and part of our daily routine, so that students become familiar with it. As the year progresses, we add a few more words and change a few sentences to make it more challenging for the students once they become familiar with the daily message. Now the exciting part is we have our Letter Monster Friend Sticks, and students get to come up and feed our Letter Monster a special letter or a special sound, depending on what we are learning about and what time of year it is. We'll ask our students one at a time to come up and find a certain letter to feed the hungry letter monster. We make it fun and engaging and interactive so all of our students want to come and have a turn with the letter monster. They are engaged and showcasing their learning at the same time. We always want this to be a positive experience for our students, as we never want them to come up to the front and not know what to do or which letter to find. Our teachers are familiar with which letters your child knows or is working on really hard, and they will support them to be successful at this activity. We want them to be excited. We want them to come up and feed our letter monster, which is so much fun. Once our letter monster is full, we say goodbye and put him away as we move on to our next activity. I'm going to go over how we teach letters, letter sounds, reading, and writing. Here at Jumpstart, we use a combination of a few programs such as Jolly Phonics and Alphabet Action and follow a scope and sequence that builds upon itself throughout the year. The scope and sequence is repeated more than once throughout the term, so don't worry in case your child is starting late. We focus on speech to print, where students learn to say the letter sounds and work with letter sounds before being expected to write them. We focus on reading decodable words based on the letter sounds we have learned so far, such as dog and cat. We also focus on reading high-frequency words, such as I and the. This progresses throughout the year as we move through our program. So how do we do all of this? When teaching a letter to our students, we focus on the lowercase letter. We always show both the uppercase and the lowercase letter together. However, we want to focus on the lowercase letter because when students are reading books, the majority of the letters are lowercase. We want them to focus on lowercase letters when they're writing their name. When we teach a new letter, we teach an action and a song. We try to emphasize the sounds we are making and point out the shape we are making with our mouth, as well as the action. So some students will learn by joining in and participating. Some students will learn by hearing, and other students will learn by seeing. So we try to incorporate all the different learning styles as we are teaching our students these letters and sounds. We teach the sounds and actions all together. So once our students start moving and singing, it resonates with the students and they start following along. This also supports our students who don't speak English because they can see the picture of the alphabet character and follow along with the dancing just like everybody else. We do not teach letter sounds in order A to Z. Instead, we teach in a research-based way. So after the first month of school, our scholar students can start to put the sounds they just learned together to read words such as cat. We start to introduce phonemic awareness right from day one. We also work on word families so that they can hear those words that sound the same, which helps them read and spell. For example, cat, bat, mat, sat, pat. Once they have figured out the pattern is at, all they need to do is change that first sound and look how many words they can read and spell. We also learn sight words, which are high-frequency words when we're reading and writing. They can start to manipulate the words they have learned and put them together to make sentences such as the red cat. Research has shown that students do not need to know all of their letters and sounds to begin to read. This is current research, and this is what we are implementing here at Jumpstart. Our students start to read and start to sound out words and write before they're able to tell us every single letter and sound of the alphabet. This is why we have such a successful program with proven results. We encourage a home-to-school connection at Jumpstart and encourage daily reading at home. Students have access to hundreds of fun and interesting books as part of our library exchange program to sign out and take home to share with their family. Parents are encouraged to read these to the students so they can sign out a new one each week. We also have a student home reading program, which are little readers students bring home to their families that consist of easy decodable words and high-frequency words. These little readers are leveled for different reading levels, and an appropriate level is assigned to each student. Let's discuss some of the table time activities that we do here at Jumpstart. Sometimes when we're going over concepts and reinforcing what we're learning about, the students are at the carpet and they might be counting out snap cubes if they're working on numbers, or they might be writing on the whiteboards if they're practicing letters or drawing shapes. They may be doing some paper and pencil work at the table depending on the concept lessons of the day. There are lots of activities that we do in class and games that we play to learn and reinforce our learnings in class. After snack time, our students spend time with their peers at centers that are set up around the classroom. At Jumpstart, we have a Play with Purpose philosophy, where we plan for our students to be playing and interacting with a purpose. All of our centers are set up with the concepts in mind that we are learning about in class and to reinforce them. And at the same time, we want to provide opportunities for our students to have social interaction with their peers, as social skill development is very important. Learning how to share our toys, how to clean up, what to do when our friends are not sharing or we want the toy they are playing with. All of these skills are ones that we also work on at center time. We have many different games and activities set up for center time. Our 4 main centers are 1. Dramatic play, where students can role play, which supports social skill development, knowledge of theme-related activities, and numeracy and literacy-related concepts. 2. Our sensory tub, which includes literacy or numeracy concepts, such as digging in the soil to find the matching uppercase and lowercase alphabet fossil bones, or digging up a certain number of fossil bones to reinforce counting skills. Number 3 is art, where students can express their creative side using loose parts with little guidance from the teachers. This encourages process art rather than crafts that all look the same. And 4, our writing center, where students engage with letter stamps, theme-related words, tracing lines, letters, and numbers, creating cards for their peers, and so on. Students also work on fine motor skills through specific activities to strengthen their hand muscles. We also have hundreds of proprietary Jumpstart created games and activities that reinforce, review, or challenge concepts students have been working on. Throughout center time, students are encouraged to share, work together, communicate with their peers, and most importantly, have fun. We often get asked about what we send home for parents to practice with their child once they've learned the concept at school. We send home review and practice sheets for parents to know what letters or concepts were taught that day or week. We don't believe in homework where the parents teach the child. Instead, we believe in the child coming home and teaching you what they have learned. When we teach a new letter or numeracy concept at school, a review and practice sheet will come home so parents know which letter or concept has been learned at school, and includes reinforcement activities that can be completed at home to reinforce those skills. We don't want this to be a frustrating experience for our students. We want them to be excited to come home and do these activities with you for review and practice. Now I'll go over some information regarding our progress reports. When our students first start at Jumpstart, we complete an initial assessment to note where the students are at to establish a baseline. This assessment is just a starting place for us and has no bearing on program placement. This information helps us to understand where we're starting with your child, and this helps us to create our individual program plan for your child. From this progress report, the teachers create individual program plans for each child, where we look at 3 to 5 goals per student that we really want to focus on and get students to reach those goals or surpass them by the next progress report. Our progress report is very laid out with all of the concepts they're able to do at that time and that they show mastery in. This progress report is based off the kindergarten and part of the grade 1 curriculum, so we do not expect all of our students to master all of these concepts by the end of our Scholars program. However, there are students that always do and surpass these concepts, and we work with them individually on these goals as we go throughout the year. We also have an extensive individualized program plan for each student. Teachers will work with students on their individualized program plans based on student needs. Our Scholars students will bring home a binder of activities and games to play at home to reinforce concepts learned at school. This is a great way to create a home-school connection while continuing purposeful play at home. Our program is a whole group program where we're teaching concepts to everybody at the same time. However, lessons are scaffolded depending on what level your child is at. For example, if your child is learning the letter M, that's what they're learning from this literacy lesson. If your child knows the letter M but they didn't know the sound, then they are learning about the sound in the lesson, which then scaffolds to objects and words that begin with the letter M. Everybody is learning all the time, as the teachers are always aware of where your child is at and the goals that they are working towards. This was a short video to show you glimpses of our program. There is so much more that we would love to tell you about all the exciting things we do here at Jumpstart. Please contact us to book a tour to come and see the classroom, meet our educators, and see our program in action. We'd love for your family to join our Jumpstart family.